Hi, riding home with me on a Friday, October the 30th, actually, and I'm going to do something that I really hadn't thought I would do. But last night, Nanny Cindy and I were sitting outside, and I was telling her some stories that Papaw Doug has told to me about some flying stories, and I never really thought about doing this until last night, but I realized that I'm quite sure that he would not tape himself or let me videotape him. I guess we don't use tape anymore, do we? Anyway, that he would not let me video him telling these stories unless he was just happened to be in really the right mood, because he's a really good storyteller. But he has to be in the right mood, and the timing has to be right for him to tell a story. So I thought maybe I would tell some of the stories as I remember them. And I want to be, again, very clear that these are not my stories. These are Papaw Doug's stories as told to me. And some of these could have been told quite some time ago, so I may have screwed them up or forgotten parts of them or whatever. Okay, so I'll start with the ones, or I'll start with a couple from when he was in Vietnam. So Gussie and Verona, and I guess for everybody, from the early 1960s until the mid 1970s, the United States was in a war with a country called Vietnam, and so during that time, Papaw Doug was in the Air Force, and he was a fighter pilot. And he was sent to Vietnam to fight in that war in 1968-69. The plane that he flew was called an F-100 Super Sabre. By the way, Sabre in this case is spelled the British way, R-E, not E-R, in case Jenny or your dad want to look up and see what one looks like. But anyway, it's a single seat fighter plane, which means that it only has one person in it, and that's the pilot, and he also has to do his own navigation, figure out where he's going, what he's doing. The plane carries different weapons, anywhere from machine guns to rockets to bombs to mines that they can drop at roadside or in rivers or whatever. So the first story that I want to tell you that I remember is that Papaw tells a story how one night he was on call. I don't know if that's what they called it, but he was on alert maybe. And when it was your turn to be on alert, you basically went out and you slept in this little room next to the flight line where they kept the planes, and your job was basically to be available all night long in case they needed you for some reason or other. So the way I remember he tells the story, that he was on alert or on call or whatever it was, and they woke him up, and he said when this happened, they would tell you that you'd go get in your plane, you'd start it, you'd do all your pre-flight stuff and everything, and then you take off, and then the tower, the air traffic control people would then tell you where to go. In other words, you didn't have a flight plan when you took off as you normally would. So they would